Global Business Summit was held recently in the national capital to celebrate the present and anticipate the future. Since its inception in 2015, the Global Business Summit has emerged as Asia's premier meeting place where global thought leaders and experts congregate to discuss ideas and actions for the future. It is an unparalleled gathering where we not only reflect on the past and present, but also anticipate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead in the ever-evolving global business landscape. The gala event was graced by the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. During his address from the podium of ET Now GBS, PM Modi proudly announced that the world has now reposed its trust in India and this is India's time.
फ्रेंड्स, ग्लोबल बिजनेस समिट की टीम ने इस बार समिट की जो थीम रखी है, मैं समझता हूँ वो थीम इटसेल्फ बहुत अहम है। डिसरप्शन, डेवलपमेंट और डाइवर्सिफिकेशन। आज के इस दौर में ये बहुत ही चर्चित शब्द है और डिसरप्शन, डेवलपमेंट एंड डाइवर्सिफिकेशन की इस चर्चा में कोई इस बात पर सहमत है कि भारत का समय है और पूरे विश्व का भारत पर ये विश्वास लगातार बढ़ रहा है। दिस इज इंडियाज टाइम।
Welcome to the 8th glorious edition of the Global Business Summit, a flagship initiative of the Times Group. This platform has brought together visionaries, thought leaders, heads of state, policy makers to cohesively demonstrate India's potential and technological prowess to the world. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, Union Minister of State for Electronics and Information Technology and Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India, opined in a special session on the topic of Workforce of the Future, India at Work.
First and foremost, I want to start by asking you about the Ministry of Skill Development, something that you've been very closely associated with. A lot of us are actually looking at how changing technology, the changing market conditions, how do you think that is going to impact on this area of skill development? And what do you think the areas are that India needs to focus on in coming years?
You know, it's clear and it's quite obvious to everybody that the digitization of the world, if you want to call it that, and particularly post-COVID, the acceleration in that digitization is, and on one hand, on the other hand, the really deep tectonic changes in technology that are throwing up new opportunities and certainly new challenges are increasingly pointing to the need for more and more talented people in areas like artificial intelligence, semiconductor, the future of the internet, and many of these areas. It has been our Prime Minister's view from very early on, since 2015, that we want to really take this so-called demographic advantage that we have of a young workforce and to convert that into a really potent, highly talented, highly skilled workforce for opportunities in India as well as abroad.
The Global Business Summit 2024 has also organized many thought-provoking discussions and keynote addresses by the doyens of the industry, which answers many questions faced by different industries. One such panel discussed the topic of experience-led growth leveraging Gen AI, where the Director Solution Consulting, Adobe India, Mr. Vyashak Venugopalan expressed his views on the topic.
Customer experience is no longer a bonus. It is a battlefield, or it is increasingly becoming the competitive differentiator for brands because people are increasingly buying experiences more than products and services. Adobe, along with Forrester, did a survey in India, and we compared the leaders in customer experience and the number twos. And you know something? The leaders enjoy twice the customer lifetime value, twice the conversion rates on their digital properties, 2.5 times the average order value. So the writing is on the wall. Customer experience can lead the business growth. But is that easy? Definitely not. Because the customer expectations are actually increasing day by day. And as brands, it's difficult to keep up that particular pace and deliver valuable experiences to customers across channel where they're coming to your brands from. But there is Gen AI entering the field. There is this powerful child of AI which is promising, and customer experience is a big enough problem for generative AI to solve for sure. Delivering highly personalized and one-on-one curated content experiences offers at scale in the last millisecond, definitely a problem big enough for generative AI to actually solve. At Adobe, we are proud to actually build technology and own technology for customer experience and generative AI. And we firmly believe that generative AI cannot replace human ingenuity. Let's see what the panel has to say about this. And I would like to open with a rapid fire question so that the entire panelists can actually share their thoughts quickly. Pranav, I will start with you. What are you most excited about in the world of customer experience and generative AI?
I think the most exciting thing for us is hyper-personalization. I think the ability to be able to actually communicate to the client not necessarily what they want, but also what they need. And I think the ability to intuitively understand that, I think, is probably the most powerful part. But the second thing, which I think is also super important, is about how easily can you communicate that so that the absorption capability of what you're communicating is easy and really dumbed down. I think these two things are, for me, the most important part.
Thank you, Pranav. Nikhil, if I can go to you.
I was going to say personalization, but you already did that. Look, I think obviously the first thing as a smart devices company, it's about personalization, predictive services to your customers. But I think the second thing I'm excited about, long term, everything is possible. Short to medium term, it's about upskilling. Look, we all need to scale large teams of customer service and people, but taking relatively less skilled people, powering them, or co-pilots with AI can really help change the game in that connection. That's what I'm excited about.
Satyen, if I can move to you.
Really excited about Gen AI. I think for me, the genie is out of the bottle. And in fact, we're just contemplating if we can have an innovation lab to use some of the cases for our various functions. For me, I think honestly, it's a blend of science and creativity. How do we really get that with Gen AI? And super excited. So one, obviously hyper-personalization, but we're also looking at what it could do with really fashion shoots, content creation, what it could do with virtual models, and I think the whole runaway shows, and I think outstanding applications which we are really starting to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very excited.
Yes. Dilip, what are you most excited about?
Yeah, well, the common use case for Gen AI is the whole hyper-personalization, the sales and marketing piece. For me personally, I'm also excited about how Gen AI can work with other technologies, the other branches of AI, other branches of deep tech, and help with product innovation, research and development, especially, in the fields of life sciences, or even in the fields of education, especially the government and public sectors. So for me, that is where I'm most excited about.
Thank you, Dilip. Kunal, if I can move to you.
See, for me, there are two very critical things which I'm excited about when it comes to Gen AI engaging with the brand. The first one is it brings empathy back into the engagement. So far, we have seen technology and the interactions of technology with consumer, with the customer, and it's been a distant relationship, right? I think with generative AI, we can bring the emotion back, and as we look at the next 5, 7, 10 years, there is more and more emotional buying, emotional engagement happening when it comes to engaging with the brand, and therefore that's number one. Number two is the speed of consumerization of use case. You don't have to be deep tech to be able to use generative AI. So small and medium enterprises can very quickly generate content, run campaigns without the need of a agency to come in and help them, right? So the ability to very quickly scale the use, as you were saying, and drive business benefits. So these two to me are
big. Thank you, Kunal. So you heard the panel. personalization at scale, upskilling, virtual models combining art and science, solving massive use cases, and also making it accessible to all. That's all GenAI can solve for us. So in the following discussion, I would like to, because these two are big enough topics, customer experience and generative AI. What are your fears or doubts as business owners, right? As technology owners, what are your fears or doubts, or where will you tread carefully when it comes to using generative AI in customer experience and growth of your own companies?
One thing which we've got to really be careful is, especially again in the fashion world, you've got to really be careful of the DNA of the brand. So otherwise you could really get into being very artificial and very different from what the brand DNA is. So I think keeping your brand DNA in mind and really using it, as I said, as a strategic tool to really help improve productivity, agility is one thing. Second, for me, honestly, is also getting the team's mindset to, so I think any new thing which comes up, so it's, as people say, no, it's not the change, but it's the transition thing which actually gives angst to people.
Any other viewpoints? Yes, Kunal, go ahead.
So the biggest fear we see is enterprises are so apprehensive at times that they go into a shell and not even start to experiment.
I think the possibilities are huge and immense. We can all worry about what can go wrong, and maybe I'm a startup, I have less to worry about, less things to break around me, so I can go experiment.
I think my biggest fear is that, it's too early implementation of some of the technology, especially that's customer facing, and in terms of what we're delivering to them, unless we are really certain that it can take care of all the different areas of regulatory strengthening that we really need to find. And because these models learn as you go, the question is, at what point are you comfortable enough to implement it, right? And because unless you're really engaging with it, the model's not improving as well. So it's a combination of both.
While you can continue to worry about these and not experiment, what I would recommend is start early, build capabilities.
Yep.
Invest in capacity and capability building within the organizations.
Thank you so much, esteemed panel members. I'm sure the audience had a lot of things to actually take away from today. Thank you so much.
After the invigorating panel discussion, the Managing Director of Adobe India, Pratibha Mohapatra, talked more about customer experiences and cutting-edge technologies.
Ma'am, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you, Pooja.
Now, by way of context setting, when it comes to any sort of marketing discourse, the customer experience is discussed at length, right? So I'd love your intake on how you're leveraging cutting-edge technologies, such as generative AI, in the context of enhancing that customer experience.
So let me start with customer experience, which now has evolved to what we call experience-led growth.
Sure.
Because companies are using experience as a lever of growth as much as using a new channel of sales or building new infrastructure. So experience-led growth is the new buzzword, and there is GenAI into it. But simply on experience-led growth, I mean, in a recent study between us and Forrester, by adopting the right tactics and having the right experience-led growth, one can expect almost 2x increase in customer satisfaction. There's a related employee satisfaction, because happy customers, happy employees. There is a 2.5 times growth in customer lifetime value, or what they buy from you. So this experience-led growth is really powering the new shift. And what drives experience for customers? It's the personalization. And how does technology, or how does that company understand me as a customer?
Absolutely.
And that's where AI has been playing a role. And for us at Adobe, into our products as well, we have been using AI into our predictive models, creating the very focused customer profiles in the trillions of data sets that we have. So those engines have been running. And hence, of course, like 4 out of 5 Fortune 500 companies are on our, say, websites. Right. So there, when the customer is going, there is that differentiated experience at that moment. The right campaign or the right offer is being put to this customer because there is an AI engine at the back end. Mm-hmm. So it's been at play. And of course, now we have moved a step further in our Gen AI in terms of having been in the forefront of image technologies.
Sure.
We have what we call Firefly, where you just said, hey, draw me a pretty picture of the sunshine or sunshine in a hilly area, so the picture pops up. So that's right. Gen AI for you. And that's what marketeers who actually have to change their ad campaigns at rapid pace, or your messaging to different individuals at different places. There is the tremendous opportunity of using image-based Gen AI. We all know about language-based, but image-based Gen AI, which can really change how marketers use technology as they go for this so-called experience-led growth and wowing the customer.
Well, ma'am, thank you for that comprehensive overview. And I've got a follow-up question for you there, because we have closely followed the launch of Adobe's Sensei Gen AI product. All right, and how does this product essentially fit into the company's larger commitment towards leveraging AI to completely transform the customer experience?
Our Sensei Gen AI is the all-pervasive AI engine of AI intervention into all our products. So we have, say, products which a lot of it play in the enterprise space for marketing in particular. And of course, we have our creative products and our productivity products around documents. But sticking to Sensei, which is very much there in our enterprise products. So an example is when I'm talking of customer data analytics. So you would have Sensei actually reading up the kind of profiling that's happening at the back end.
Right.
And then over a period of time, creating these cohorts. And then, hey, you get this data model where these set of customers have a similar type of buying behavior, and hence then the marketer goes and says, for them, I'm going to launch that kind of campaigns. Mm-hmm. So that's where the Sensei engine is already at play, right? Or it could be something like the campaigns have been launched, but how the end customers are responding to it, you have a engine at the back end working to give you the right alerts.
Sure.
That, hey, something is happening in the southern part of the country.
Right.
Everybody's just loving your new offer. So that's simplistically putting how the Sensei has been working in all our products and all our platforms. And it's just the beginning, as I would say. And again, back to our surveys, 60% of the customers feel that they will just depend on these kind of engines to help them. So 40% will be focused on really doing the human intervention kind of thing, but a lot of these, the insights, they expect these kind of engines to come and give them. And of course, 90% of marketeers believe AI will add value to what they're doing. And that's where we are.
Well, ma'am, we certainly look forward to that. And given that consumer preferences and customer preferences are constantly evolving, as are cutting-edge technologies, what are some of the challenges that you encountered in the development and the launch of Sensei?
See, any AI platform, if you see, or AI engine, it's as good as the data or what you actually feed it in, right? Because the data models emerge out of what is fed into it.
Absolutely.
And hence, we have to take precautions, because are you feeding it with unbiased data,
right,
more generic data, so that the output which emerges, and hence in future the recommendations that is given is unbiased and fair. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing which every AI engine, and similarly in this case, is something to watch out for, and we have watched out for. Second is the development of such engines has to go through a rigorous audit process.
Sure.
And we in Adobe have a audit board which actually is overseeing the creation of these models and creation of this engine. So that's again a best practice which many companies now are following in having internal AI audit teams. After creating all of that, you give it to the end consumer. How they use it and what they create with it, that's the other danger that's still there. And hence, we do have, there's something called the Content Authentication Board, which we sort of started a few years back, and now many companies are into it. which actually, once you create something out of a generative engine, it's watermarked. And the creator of this, say, image, who created it, what was used to create it, is it an original thing, or it is a photograph, or it's a tweaked photograph, all of that you can have an audit trail. So these are the kind of things which we have put in action because of the challenges that we have been facing in terms of ensuring that there is no bias. It's as real as possible. So that's some of the things.
Well, ma'am, I'd love your take on how technology can be better integrated into not simply the consumer experience or customer experience, but customer engagement, so that brands ultimately get more from less in this approach to market.
Brands getting more from less, and there are different ways. Like I'm a brand, I'm a shoe brand, I sell to youngsters, I sell to runners, I sell to the morning walkers. Now, but I have to keep my brand appealing to everyone.
Right.
And what can technology do to help you to be appealing to everyone at all times? So that's where this Gen AI kind of stuff comes into picture. This is where the brand custodians, and I'll talk about the customers.
Please.
Right, so the brand custodians have to maintain the logo, the color, the pictures of their company, but at the same time, they have to make it available at a fast space, right? So there is Valentine's Day coming in. It's the same thing. So how do I take my brand and make it attractive to that set of audience? So that's where there is technology intervention to the brand custodians in how they reach out to the customers. Customers, that is we are actually in the best time. I mean, I think technology has been fantastic for us in the choices that we are able to make, or what we can command from every site that we visit. If I go to an airline site, and if I've often traveled to Goa, and if there is a sale happening of flight tickets somewhere, and I'm targeted that, hey, we know you love beaches, and I know of course I have shared some data, right? So there's a give and take happening, and again, there's a data security is another subject altogether.
Sure.
But sometimes it's the more you give, the more the platforms know you, the better they serve you, and it's in our control. What do I want to share? Because if I want to be served better, maybe within the security norms there, I will share a little more. So it's all about technology, right? So I share a little more, and the customer, then as a customer, I get a much better value proposition, more directed, and just saves my time instead of going and searching in 10 different places. As a company, we have to be responsible that we are accountable to the customer's data, we are responsibly using that data, and we need to transparently share what we are doing with it.
Well, ma'am, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, and we wish you and the larger Adobe India team all the continued success.
Thank you, Pooja. It's been a pleasure.
The ET Now Global Business Summit 2024, presented by the Times Group, has been at the forefront of driving a singular agenda for scripting economic change by connecting the building blocks of economics for India and the globe. ET Now GBS serves as a conduit for corporates and governments to secure investments from domestic and international allies that will become a part of India's growth story.